Secondly is the who you are to serve. This is probably the point of the most contention that comes up for folks. It just, and I get it. And I get it as a Black woman, spiritualist, creative entrepreneur that is very much actively wanting to make the world a better place in the way that she can. And what can end up happening is, again, the focus will go to how can I serve everybody rather than how can I serve a specific group of people that are actually going to be able to make use of what I bring to the table, right? And I get it. Like it's hard to really shift your belief systems and your emotional reality and your actions away from, let me provide a product and a service for everyone at every price point, of every type, of every accessibility, because you want to be able to help everybody. And that is born from a deep place of love. And I definitely do not want you to move away from that. However, that lack of specificity and that lack of intentionality is one which is something that actually keeps you from serving in the best way possible to the people you're supposed to be serving, because you actually can't give your best to everyone. They're only going to get like a portion of you, because like you have 100%. So if you're serving 100 different types of people, those people are only going to get 1% from you. Is that the kind of service you want to provide? Or do you want to focus on one group and give that one group 100%? Right? And move out of the way so that others who are also answering similar calls can better serve those people, because I guarantee you there's going to be somebody else who can do one of the things that you are trying to do and serve in a certain kind of way better than you. Can you move out of the way so that they can best serve those people and you can operate in your zone of genius, whatever that is, whatever your business is? Okay. Now, so how do you see this? So 2 things. One, of course, the business astrology. Like, I'm always going to come back to this tool because astrology does not care about your feelings. It's showing you this is the imprint for your business. This is how it's set up. This is how it's best going to be operate. And if you want it to be successful, then show up for it in the way that it needs, not what fulfills you as an individual person. Because anything that is going to be best for it is ultimately going to be best for you. Spirit is not going to be birthing service, projects, products, creative art, etc. that's out of alignment. So you don't have to worry about that. You just have to be the good steward. A good business owner, a good leader is a good steward, right? So looking at the chart, and in the chart you can actually see, based off of how I interpret it, who you best serve. And I usually group this into 2 categories. If you serve the many, meaning you would actually go a little bit more mass market and less customized, less specialized, or you're more so serving the few, where you're actually going to be going deeper. You'll be working with less people. There's going to be much more kind of sophistication that's involved. But again, it's fewer touch points, if you will. Those are the two main demarcations, and your business chart will show you that. And depending on how that's set up, it tells you how you need to show up. Because if your business is hardwired to be serving the many, then that's going to require you showing up as a CEO in a different way, you marketing in a different way, you creating products and services in a very different way to match that so that the business can flourish. Whereas if you are to be serving the few, again, that's going to be shifting how you show up as a CEO with, you know, the content that you put out, the products or services, how often, etc. It is going to influence that. And those two things are very, very different. And it's going to come down to, are you willing to do what is necessary, again, for the business to flourish, not necessarily what makes you comfortable. So that's one thing, is looking at the business chart for, you know, really determining who your business best serves. But another thing that you can look at is your numbers. I told you I was going to get back to these details. I got way too much Virgo in my chart to not get into these details. You got to look at your numbers. Where is your money actually flowing, right? For all the things that you may be offering, where is their flow? Meaning, what's actually giving you the most amount of return? This is where we apply the 80-20 rule. Where is the bulk of your business? Where is the bulk of your revenue coming from? It's most likely going to be coming from a few certain areas. And so then if that's the case, that's where you need to focus, and that's actually giving you an indication of who you best serve. In your mind, you may be like, oh, I want to serve these people over here or do this thing. But if that's not being matched with the numbers, you as business owner have to pivot to where the flow is, because the flow is an indication of where the business is. The flow is an indication of where your business naturally flourishes. So it's your job to say yes and to go in that direction. Yeah? Any questions on that before we move on? But those two things, looking at the business natal chart for specificity about who you serve, the few, the types of people that you would be serving, you can find in the chart, as well as your numbers. What's actually happening in your revenue with what you are already currently selling as products or services? Where is their flow already occurring? Another thing you can look at too, if you really want to go deeper, is, you know, your overall energy management. As I talked about earlier, you know, part of the thing about the revenue obstacles is that you can feel like you're putting in like so much effort and you're not getting enough of it back. This is another way that you can look at that and see like, oh, I have to really consolidate and refine how much I'm investing in a certain kind of way, because what I'm doing is not sustainable. Like if I had to imagine myself 5 years from now, would I be comfortable with sustaining the way that I'm working now and the hamster on the wheel thing that's happening? That's a good question to always ask. If I was doing this as I'm doing it 5 years from now, 10 years from now, would I be happy with that? Is this actually sustainable? And if you're being really honest, the answer is going to be no. The answer is going to be no. All right, so if there's no questions on that, we'll move to the third topic. And then I can do some in-the-moment coaching with anybody if they would like.